comes to torrential downpour. Isn't that right?
That's right. You must turn off your gas and electricity and quickly evacuate from areas vulnerable to flash flooding.
What should we do if we are already outside?
Evacuate to a safe place, away from construction sites, underground spaces, and areas prone to frequent flooding. If you're driving, do not stop the car. Instead, slowly drive through the flooded area without stopping.
What should we do once the rain stops?
When going into buildings that have been submerged, do not touch electrical facilities and make sure to ventilate, as there is a risk of gas leakage.
We should also reduce preventable damages and prepare for disasters ahead of time by following safety guidelines.
That is correct. You can receive real-time safety information through the Disaster Safety Information mobile app, 안전디딤돌.
Thank you for all the great information. Remember, your safety is everyone's safety. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산 영어방송.
지금 방송 광고라는 부메랑을 던져보세요. 소비자를 향해 정확히 날아가는 광고. 힘차게 돌아가는 경제. 부메랑처럼 다시 기업의 이익으로 되돌아오니까요. 방송 광고, 경제에 큰 힘이 됩니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
Every year, we hear about these different indices that measure or rank happiness between and among countries, right? Well, the World Happiness Report 2025, it was issued a few months back, but I think it's really interesting to look at some of the factors, which include things like social support, GDP per capita, healthy life expectancy, freedom, and generosity, among other factors. And not surprisingly, we always hear about the Scandinavian countries, topping their rankings in life evaluations. But some standouts. Costa Rica sitting in 6th place, Israel in 8th, and Mexico rounding out the top 10. Aside from it being Friday, what makes you happy? Well, we're going to talk about that. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Friday, August 29th on BEFM 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, Wavers. And as one of our listeners, Sunjunim says, finally, Friday. Yes, it's here. It's Friday. It's actually the last Friday of August. So starting Monday, I'll be saying hello, September to all of you. Well, by the way, I was talking about that World Happiness Report 2025. And you might be wondering, of the 100 countries that were studied, where does Korea sit? South Korea sits in 58th place. So that's according to all the factors that I told you about earlier. Well, we're going to begin our program with a snapshot of life here in South Korea and how it's changed in the 80 years since liberation. So there's been a lot of attention over the birth rate, which we talk about all the time, and an issue connected to this. When and how many people are getting married? To no one's surprise, the age at which one gets married has been, getting later and later, right? In 1990, the average marriage age was, for men, 27.8, and for women, 24.8. Last year, let's look at the numbers again. For men, 33.9, so almost 34 years of age, and for women, 31.6. So you can hear in just the past few decades how much that has changed. And of course, this is all linked to the number of single and dual-person households and plus the low birth rate. Taking a look at the state of public health. As the country is seeing an increase in chronic illnesses, experts say that this is linked to aging and changes in lifestyle. Obesity went up from 26% in 1998 to 37.2% in 2023. And the number of deaths from cancer tripled in the last 20 or so years. Unfortunately, suicide rates, they went up as well, with the National Statistics Agency pointing to socioeconomic causes, especially for seniors. So what about overall life satisfaction? Well, the rate of those who said they were satisfied with their life almost doubled in the last 20 years. However, this rate still only came to 40%, meaning almost 60% of South Koreans were not satisfied with their lives. So waivers, I do want to know. I started with an opening about, this happiness index. What makes you happy or increases your quality of life? And that is directly linked to our text topic today. We're going to get right into it. Here we go. What is something that makes you happy when you feel down? 자, 다운될 때 내가 기분 업 시켜주는 것은? What might that be? What's a pick-me-upper? What makes you feel happy when you're feeling a little blue? You can send in your responses, your opinions to BEFM's live stream live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform to find our channel. Type in BEFM or Busan 영어 방송, and then you can subscribe. You can log in and chat with other waivers out there from your phone. pound 9050 샵 9050. That's going to cost you 101. Also, for free, you can reach me through Kakao Talk. Same thing there, BEFM, Busan 영어 방송. Find us, add us as a friend. You can send in your messages and photos too. So the ways you can tune in our program these days on the radio in Busan 90.5 or 103.3 FM. Like I said, we're streaming live on YouTube as we speak. You can watch again at your leisure. And we are also available on the BEFM app and the Papang app. Both are free and easy to download. Let's look at the schedule for today. The lineup, we have Casey with Foreign Press Highlights, Global Affairs with Professor Andrew Millard. And then today for special interview, I'm so excited because we have this expert on, several times throughout the year because he is the expert in this field, but he's actually coming into the studio today. So we're all really excited to see him in person. I'm talking about Professor Kim Byung-ju. He, as you well know, is a former diplomat, and he's going to talk about the key tasks in the Korea-U.S. partnership moving forward. Because, yes, we talked about the summit itself, right, between South Korea and the U.S. But what can we expect? And we're going to get into the gritty details of what he can share with us. He's coming into the studio today. All right, and I'll be back with News Overview. It's now 7:06, and this is News Overview. Special counsel to indict Kim Gun-hee under detention today. The Minjung-gi Special Counsel will indict Kim Gun-hee under detention later this morning, the first case for any former First Lady after they questioned her for a fifth time yesterday. Kim Jong-un to attend China's military parade with Xi and Putin. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will visit China for a military parade in September alongside Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin, marking the first time the leaders of the three countries will attend the same event. SK Telecom receives a record fine for a data breach. SK Telecom was slapped with a record 130.8 billion won fine over a large-scale data breach earlier this year involving personal information of its 23 million users. National health insurance rate to rise next year. The country's national health insurance rate will rise to 7.19%, adding an extra 2,235 won per month to an average salaried worker's insurance premium. Russian strikes on Kyiv killed 21 and damaged EU headquarters. Russia conducted a massive strike on Kyiv overnight, killing 21 and damaging the European Union mission and the British Council buildings, inciting outrage from EU leaders. And this was News Overview. It's time for Now Busan. We have Sejin in the studio. Let's say hi first. Good morning.
Morning.
So it's Friday, our favorite day. Yes. But what is something that makes you happy when you're feeling kind of down? Is there something that makes you happy?
I love this question.
Okay.
I got 2 or 3 things.
Okay.
First, I go for running. I love running.
Okay.
And like after running 30 minutes, it's just you got this huge adrenaline kicking in.
Okay.
Yeah, I enjoy it. And second, I love cooking.
Ooh. Sandwiches?
Yeah, sure.
Making sandwiches?
And eating sandwiches was actually my third one.
Oh,
so
really?
Cooking and eating sandwiches is
sandwiches.
a whole process of my happiness.
So it's running, cooking, and eating sandwiches.
Sandwiches, yeah.
All right. Well, we know what makes you tick now. We're going to jump into our first bit of local news. It sounds like Busan is really going all in and becoming a global ocean capital.
Yeah, so it's been 25 years since Busan said it wanted to be Northeast Asia's ocean capital. And now they're finally kicked off a big citywide plan to go global with that idea. They're using the momentum from the new administration and relocation of the Ministry of Oceans and Fisheries to push the city as Korea's maritime powerhouse.
Yes, and I hear that they had a launch event, correct?
Yes, on August 28th, so yesterday, Busan held an official launch ceremony. Attendees were the city mayor, the head of city council, an education office, business leaders, you name it. Over 19 institutions from every sector came together. Mayor Park Hyung-jun himself presented official strategy for global ocean hub city Busan.
Indeed. And so what's the plan to make all of this happen?
It is to become one of the top 5 ocean cities in the world. And to do that, Busan plans to build 4 strategic ocean hubs centered around the city's 5 major ports.
Yes.
Focusing on maritime finance, new industries, maritime headquarters district, and ocean science and technology. That was an overall framework. And now let's look at the concrete strategies. They'll focus on 3 key pillars: special, industrial, and talent innovation, with 12 specific projects.
So let's break this down just a little bit. So let's start with space. So what are we talking about?
For spatial innovation, they will create growth hubs along the city's 5 major port areas, from Bukang to Newport to Yeongdo, and connect them with islands to expand the city's overall impact.
Yes. So what about industrial innovation?
As for innovation, there are strategies to grow sustainable high-tech industries, and that means focusing on things like power semiconductors and advanced batteries for the maritime sector. They're also supporting major shipping companies like H&M as they relocate their headquarters. And at the same time, they're tackling national projects such as developing the Arctic route.
I see. So what about the talent that we're talking about? Like, people, that's important.
Yeah, they're trying to train people who can lead the Arctic route era and push digital innovation in the ocean and fisheries field. The idea is to use big national universities as hubs. And from there, they're going to set up a whole ecosystem connecting schools, companies, and research, regional industrial and academic collaboration, all focused on the maritime sector.
Yes. So what happens next?
So with all these strategies, the committee is going to step up and come up with new agendas for the maritime industry. And they'll make sure there's enough drive to actually push those policies through.
Yes.
The city plans to finalize the execution plan within this year and then submit it to the central government.
I see. So thanks for breaking it down for us. We do appreciate it, Sejin. All right. Let's move on to talk about this big development in the tragic fire case. This was at the Banyantree resort site.
Yeah. So the trial has started for that fire at the Busan resort construction site, where 6 people lost their lives.
Right.
On the 28th, the first hearing was held, and 6 people were on trial, including the chairman of Samjeong Group and CEO of Samjeong E&C and the head of the subcontractor. They're facing charges under Korea's Serious Accident Punishment Act.
Indeed. And so what's the main issue the court is looking into right now?
The hearing was pretty short, and since the court had already gone over the main issues in 2 earlier sessions.
I see.
Prosecutor side said the chairman Park Jong-ho and CEO Park Sang-chun pushed the fire safety supervisor to file a fake report. They claimed it was to dodge late penalties and loan debt. And with fire systems unfinished, wind caused a blaze that killed 6 workers.
Right. So what did the other side say, meaning the defense?
In response, the defense claim the fire may have been sparked by other causes, not welding. They also argue that responsibility between the main contractor and the subcontractors should be viewed differently. And they pointed out that Chairman Park wasn't really running things on the ground, so the Serious Accident Punishment Act shouldn't apply to him. So basically, they made it clear this case is going to be long fight in court.
I see. So it does sound like the trial may take a while.
Looks like it. There are dozens of witnesses lined up and over 160 pieces of evidence. So this trial is going to take a long time. The prosecution is still going on extra investigations, so the defense hasn't even able to check some documents yet.
Yes.
In court, journalists and local labor groups were there watching closely.
Indeed, because, I mean, this was such a tragic fire, 6 lives lost, and once again, constructing that new resort. So we're going to be following this trial. All right, next, it does look like Haeundae is planning something new for its tourism hotspots.
Yeah, Haeundae district in Busan is looking to spice up some of the main tourist spots like Haeundae Beach and Gunamlo. They announced on the 28th that a kickoff briefing for the Haeundae Core Cultural Tourism Belt project will be held on September 1st.
Oh, so what exactly will this focus on?
The idea is to study future trends in cultural tourism and come up with new attractions and experiences for places like Gunamlo, Haeundae Beach, 해리단길, 달맞이길. The project also involves creating a master plan for Haeundae District's cultural tourism initiatives. One idea they're looking at is rebuilding the 30-year-old tourist info center right at the entrance of Haeundae Beach.
Okay.
The plan is for the new center to handle tourist info and admin tasks, but also to be cool, specialized cultural space.
Right. So that would definitely give, like, for example, the beach or these spots kind of like a fresher look and feel.
Yeah, they are thinking about putting 3 public parking lots near Haeundae Beach underground and making parks on top so the beach feels more connected.
Okay.
They plan also to make use of the underground space which links Haeundae Beach to Haeundae Station. They would put in shops, parking, and even float control storage. Another idea is to put scenic lights along the coast, all from Suyeonggo to Songjeong, to turn it into a cool spot at night. They're even looking at turning Haeundae Market, 해리단길, and 달맞이길 into foodie culture hubs.
Oh, that's interesting. So I'm sure, with Haeundae already having, like, the name recognition, I'm also wondering kind of like, why?
A Haeundae district official said more and more domestic travel is focused on Seoul and the surrounding area, which is putting Haeundae's reputation as a top tourist spot at risk. This project is our way of tackling that issue and turning Haeundae into a world-class cultural tourism city.
Right. Well, I'm glad that, Busan City is being proactive and trying to make sure that our hotspots stay hot, right?
100%.
Yes. All right, moving on. There is a huge global event coming to Busan later this year, right?
Yep, that's right. The World Anti-Doping Agency, or WADA, a leadership team, came to Korea yesterday, about 100 days before the 2025 WADA conference in Busan. They met with the Busan mayor to talk about how the preps are going and future cooperation.
Yes. So it sounds like, Busan is gearing up for this event, and this is like actually a really big event.
Yep. Actually, Busan gave honorary citizenships to the WADA president and 4 other officials back in 2022. And just a day before yesterday, President Bangka had a chat with university students majoring in sport. And top athletes from around the world are visiting Busan schools to interact with young athletes here during this December conference.
Yes. So I was actually there at it was like a talk show with President. We told Bangka with WADA and the officials in Busan and representatives. So this was a really, really good event for students. It was huge. So tell us, when exactly is the big conference happening, though?
The conference will run from December 1st to 5th at Pexeco, and they're expecting around 2,000 people from 191 countries. They'll be deciding on new anti-doping rules and standards that will apply to all sports for the next 6 years.
Yes. So this is once again coming up in December, and it's going to be actually the first time they hold it in an Asian city ever. So let's be welcoming when they come in December. All right. Next, let's talk about this story. This is regarding a child and its family, right?
Yeah, it's about a high school girl in Busan who found a missing kid.
Oh.
Her name is Jung Seo-yu. She is 16 and goes to Moonyeon Girls High School. She spotted the kid near Daeyeon Station in Namgu at the end of last month and called the police right away. And yesterday, Nambu Police Station gave her commendation and a cash reward.
Oh, well, first of all, the fact that she went out of her way and helped this child out. How did it all happen, though?
At the time, the police sent out the alert text to citizens with a missing child face and a physical description. And while walking down the street, she recognized that child from the message and called the police right away.
Ah, good of her. And was it difficult for the police to track the child otherwise?
Yes, because the missing child did not have a phone. So the police were having trouble tracking the location. An official said they were able to hand over this missing child to his parents safely thanks to a courageous report.
Ah, so she's such a good citizen already, this 16-year-old. So thank you for going over all the local news. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll check in with you on Monday. Thank you, Sejin.
You too.
All right, everybody, let's get to your traffic and weather.
Good morning. Good morning.
굿모닝입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan. Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
It's now 7:20. Here's your traffic report. First up, let's talk about the Manduk intersection, which looks busy right now, to the Namhae Expressway Deokjeon ramp. Also, backed up on Dongso overpass from Hwangryong ramp to the old Daegum toll gate. It's looking slow on Gwanmun-daero from Bangum to Baegang Tunnel, and traffic is detected on Nakdong-Namno from Hadan intersection to Hagwon Bridge. Currently, it's 25 degrees Celsius under sunny skies. However, it's going to go up to 35 degrees today, which is hotter than yesterday. Busan City is under a special heatwave report or 폭염특보. Looking ahead to the weekend, tomorrow, pretty much the same as today. Sunday, you can expect some rain, but still hot at 33 as the peak temperature. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for top stories, and we have my fellow sister in black.
Yes. On Fridays we wear black. Apparently.
How are you?
I'm well.
Yes, good. So we want to know what makes you happy when you're feeling down. Do you feel down?
Mid. Like I get
I've never seen you
at
down.
the base level, and I think it's because I do try to stay upbeat.
Yes.
And I do that by number one, exercising, because exercising releases endorphins. Endorphins make you happy,
Sure.
as per Legally Blonde. And I think doing stuff that you have to, not putting things off, not procrastinating.
That makes you happy.
That makes me not unhappy. That makes me not feel anxious.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, having little things to look forward to. So, on Mondays, you're like, ugh. So maybe schedule something on Monday or have something that at home that you're looking forward to. It could be a piece of chocolate waiting for you at home. I recently bought good cheese. I know. I recently bought Pecorino Romano. So sprinkling that on my pasta instead of the powdered Parmesan that comes in the little
is not
green
cheese.
tube that's just like cheese.
Yes.
That makes me happy.
Oh,
Yeah.
the little things. I
Be
like
happy
that.
about little things. Yeah.
All
Cheese.
right. We're going to jump into our top story. This is regarding the Bank of Korea, which decided yesterday to freeze the interest rate. So let's go over its reasoning.
Right. So, excuse me, the Bank of Korea, or the BOK, kept the interest rate steady at 2.5%. So the reason is upon the decision that while housing prices have taken a fairly small step back from the steep incline.
Yes.
It's not quite stable yet. So the BOK did drop rates 2 out of 4 times in the first half of this year. So back then, it was to help boost the economy amid this low growth projection from stagnant demand and Trump's tariff.
Yes.
But things took a turn this summer, and the BOK decided to freeze rates in July and again in August.
Right. And so this change in direction maybe can be traced to the housing market?
Right. So although in the first half of the year, the major concern with the economy was Trump's tariffs, in the second half of the year domestically, with at least Trump's tariffs concerns coming down slightly, the big focus is over the housing market, especially the increase in Seoul area home prices. That's been very steep, with people really maxing out on all the available loans and resources to buy homes.
Yes.
So the new Lee Jae-myung government, of course, implemented these unprecedented loan restrictions for capital area home mortgages. They're being called the so-called 627 or the June 27th measures.
I see.
However, according to the Korea Real Estate Board, Seoul's apartment prices for the third week of August, these prices were still up by 0.09% compared to the week before, although that is in very, very small decimal points when we are talking about billions of won. That's still a lot of money. So BOK Governor Lee Chang-yong told the parliament earlier this month that while things are calming down somewhat, they do still need to monitor the situation.
Right. And another reason may lie with the U.S., right?
Right. So that's with the U.S. interest rates, and that's a whole different story on the U.S. side. But right now, that is holding steady at 4.25% to 4.5%.
Right.
So this gives a 2% difference between South Korean rates and the U.S. rates, and that, by the way, is the biggest ever. Why that's concerning, we look to the Korean currency, the Korean won. The bigger the difference in interest rates there is, investors actually pull money out of the Korean won, South Korea, to the dollar or other currencies that might give them higher returns.
Yes.
And that increases concerns for the devaluation of the Korean won. But by most accounts, a rate decrease may be coming this year, and that is from the Bank of Korea as well. And many experts are looking at possibly October for this drop, potentially.
Yes. All right. Thank you for telling us about this. Up next, the government is cracking down against voice phishing and other similar scams.
Right, so damages, financial losses from voice phishing and voice phishing scams, they've been on the rise. So for the first 7 months of this year, there have been 14,707 reported cases, totaling 776.6 billion won in damages. By the way, this is 25% higher in terms of just the sheer number of cases from last year, and about double the amount of money lost.
Yes.
So 3/4 of the cases, so 75%, they are from those impersonating financial authorities or prosecutors, 검사사층 or 기관사층. And the typical scenario, you've been implicated in a crime, so in order to basically prove your innocence, you need to fully cooperate with our investigation, including basically handing over your bank account.
Yes.
So that is, please, always false. The financial authorities and the prosecutors will never ask you for your bank PIN number or password.
Right.
Interestingly, though, because we often think of this as something that the elderly might be more vulnerable to, but that was not as much the case because over half the victims were 30 or younger. So they were actually quite young.
Yes.
Over 43% were older, 50 or older.
And it seems like these scammers, they're getting more ruthless.
Right. So they're not just taking your money, they're messing with you psychologically. So they take your personal information, even gaslighting you. So that is, the ultimate goal is to take your money by gaslighting you and putting you in this even socially isolated or vulnerable state.
Sure.
So the scammers, to kind of take you down, they will make the victims write repentance letter, 반성문. Again, these are from some who are pretending to be prosecutors, basically write us letters saying how sorry you are about you being implicated in this false crime. They also require victims to give them constant hourly updates on where they are. This is a part of the social isolation scheme. Make sure they're not getting help from people.
Okay.
Also, try to control their lives. There was even a case or multiple cases of perpetrators forcing victims to go lock themselves up in a motel. Again, they won't be able to contact anyone.
Exactly. So, of course, cracking down against the perpetrators, that's the most important thing. But the government is also going to boost responsibility on the part of telecom companies and financial institutions?
Right. So cell phone companies and banks basically are going to have a greater burden of responsibility and even the responsibility to compensate for losses.
Oh.
So the government task force announced these measures yesterday. And starting next month, the police will head a 24/7 voice phishing comprehensive response team. So they will be able to block numbers that are used in these scams within 10 minutes. Telecom companies, so cell phone providers, will have to come up with criteria for determining abnormal accounts for opening up of new phone lines. For example, if a particular telecom company branch saw a spike in foreign nationals membership, because often it is outside of Korea lines, they need to monitor them. If they see any suspicious activities, abnormal activities, they do need to report that immediately to the Science Ministry. So that is their accountability.
Okay.
If they fail to do so, these companies may face business suspension or business registration termination. The government will also revise the law to allow foreign nationals to only open one cell phone line per foreign passport. Currently, that's at 2. So there will also be a facial recognition authentication step added to that cell phone lining opening or account opening process.
Yes.
So this is to prevent burner phones, 대포폰. The government will also write into law requiring responsible entities like financial institutions and banks to, if they are found liable, pay part or all of the damages in terms of the money.
I see. Well, that's that story for now. Let's move on to this next one. Worksite or industrial safety has been a major issue here in South Korea as of late, and I see that you've brought in figures regarding potential safety lapses at construction sites.
Right, so this is from the Ministry of Land, Infrastructure and Transport, which conducted inspections of construction sites ahead of the rainy season, so they came earlier in the summer. So of the 2015 construction sites, these are including apartments, buildings, roads, railways, and airports, there were collectively 5,372 cases of fines or correctional orders issued. The biggest culprit was safety. So we're talking about lack of fall prevention structures, so like nets and railings or other safety structures. Even the top 10 companies in terms of jobs acquired accounted for 213 of the cases. So Daewoo Construction had the highest figures at 37 lapses, followed by Haeundae, DLENC, and Lotte with 29 each. GS, HDC, Haeundae, and POSCO all had over 20 violations reported. So lawmaker Shin Young-dae of the Democratic Party, who released these figures, said that in construction sites, just one tiny improper safety system can result in a massive casualty and called for thorough inspections and supervision.
Right, and I hear that there's been a report on the most vulnerable groups at these sites.
And these are rookies, so first-time or very beginning workers. And we're talking about the heat this time around, and that has threatened the safety and lives of all outdoor workers.
Right.
So I'm citing a KBS exclusive report here. So of the workers who were recognized for and received workmen's compensations, 한업체 인정 for heat-related illnesses, about half of them were rookies. So last year, there were 51 workers whose heat-related illnesses were recognized as industrial accidents. 24 of them had been on the job for a week or less. 11 of them on their very first day.
Oh, no.
So there's a very clear picture here. So their case papers have statements like, I didn't have a single moment of rest. I thought I was going to die. So government guideline actually puts new workers as in a group of vulnerable workers, especially to heat illnesses, because number one, they're not used to the work itself. Also not acclimatized physically to the working outside in that environment.
Yes.
There are also cases where the supervisors or the worksite didn't call 119 immediately, and that has led to brain or even organ damage.
Oh, no.
So experts say that new workers in the heat should be put into the work in phases and immediately stop working if they feel dizzy or experience any seizures.
Right. Imagine being new to the job and you have to acclimate to those kind of harsh conditions. Very
Again,
difficult.
today the temperature is going up to 35 degrees Celsius.
Yes, indeed. All right, let's move on to this story story. We're going to go to the U.S. where there have been more reports of arrests of Korean citizens who have been living in the U.S. for a long time.
Right. So, and some of them are on kind of shaky legal grounds or not quite for very clear causes, at least immediately. So, according to U.S. outlets, a Korean violinist, John Shin, has been detained by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, while he was on a work trip in Colorado. His wife is a U.S. citizen, and she said she was notified of his arrest via a phone call. So Shin is 37 years old. He is a Korean citizen, but he moved to the U.S. when he was 10, spent most of his time in Utah, elementary school onward. His attorneys say that Shin was caught back in 2019 for impaired driving. So basically, this is when his capacities were not at full capacity. That could have been for drinking or for other reasons. That's unclear. However, he did carry out and attend all the classes as ordered by the court and finish his probation period. So on paper, that shouldn't have mattered, at least according to his immigration attorney, and he got his driver's license reissued.
Okay.
But it seems that, and another background is that he actually was staying in the U.S. under DACA, which is Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals for Undocumented Minors. And it seems that this incident revoked his legal status under DACA, and he was currently in the process of obtaining citizenship under his marriage. So his immigration status was not quite cut and dry, but a lot of experts are saying it wouldn't have mattered in the previous administration, but there are definitely rapid changes coming right now.
Yes.
And we did talk about this case, a vaccine scientist at Texas A&M University who was detained by San Francisco at the San Francisco airport.
Yes.
In that case, the family suspected his previous marijuana possession, for which he got community service, kind of coming back and becoming an issue.
I see.
So again, this definitely goes in line with the Trump administration's hardline immigration policy, and it has been instilling fear amongst everybody, but also, in this case, Koreans living in the U.S.
Yes, yes. Well, thanks for going over all the top issues. And of course, we'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
All right, we are ready for our first song for today. So this is 좋은 사람 있으면 소개시켜줘 by Joy.
있으면 소개시켜줘 때로는 물처럼 때로는 불처럼 진심으로 나만을 사랑할 수 있는 성숙하고 성실한 사람이라면 좋겠어 좋은 사람 있으면 소개시켜줘 사랑에도 연습은 있는 거기에 아주 조금만이라도 신경을 써주는 사랑 경험이 많은 사람이라면 좋겠어 한 번쯤은 시련에 울었었던 눈이 고운 사람 품에 안겨서 뜨겁게 위로받고 싶어 혼자임에 지쳤던 내 모든 걸 손이 고운 사람에게 맡긴 채 외로움을 잊을 수 있다면 좋은 사람 있으면 소개시켜줘 만남 그 자체에 연연하기보다 한 번을 만나더라도 그때 분위기에 최선을 다하려는 사람이라면 좋겠어 나에겐 아픈 상처가 있는데 과거가 없는 사람은 부담스러워 한 번쯤은 시련에 울었었던 눈이
It's time for Casey and Foreign Press Highlights. Let's say hi first. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
How are you?
A little sick.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm just getting over a little as well.
Yeah. I guess like the weather change is coming, I guess. My body's like, yeah, get ready. You're going to get sick again.
You know
Every
what
time
it
the
is?
seasons change, right?
Yeah, the seasonal changes, and also, I think it's also, for me, it's like, I'm sure you do too.
Monday.
Yeah, new semester.
You're totally right. It is not about the seasons at all. I know it. Now I know what it is. It's like psychological
Pressure of like,
oh, no.
back to school. It is.
Are you ready? Nope.
In theory, I am, but not really.
I saw your face.
Are you ever really ready?
Nope.
New batch of students. Yes.
No problem. We can do it.
Yes.
Hi, Ting.
Yes. Text topic time.
Uh-oh.
What is something that makes you feel happy when you feel down, aside from summer vacation? So what makes you feel happy?
Aside from the first day of school? Something that makes me feel happy when I feel down? Being in a nice, like natural environment. You know what I mean?
Being out
like
in nature?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like? Give us an example.
It's probably not the most natural environment, but I ride a motorcycle, and often I ride by, there's like the road that goes to Oryokdo, and it's always kind of, there's not much traffic on it, and it kind of has this like nice view over a cliff, and you can see, like, on a clear day you can see Daemado. And so every time I kind of ride there, I'm just kind of like, it's the ocean, the ocean's right there.
That's very natural.
Is it natural?
Yeah. Yes.
Aside from the gigantic apartment buildings in the background. But yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
We're going to jump into Foreign Press Highlights.
All right, let's do it.
All right, what do you have for us?
Well, cell phones, perhaps not surprisingly.
Uh-huh.
Do you think your children spend too much time on their phones?
What parent says no?
Right.
However, I had them on a system.
Oh, do you?
Well,
tell me.
When
Tell
they were
me your
younger.
system. Okay.
Like I would put time limits. I was like pretty religious about that.
Through the phone, like automatic
on
time
an
limit?
app.
Okay.
Through an app I could control from my phone.
So you're like the Wizard of Oz. I picture you behind a curtain, like, it's time to phones off.
Since you asked.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Right.
I'm taking this advice.
No, you need to.
Yep.
Or else just, even adults, we as adults are like addicted to our phones.
No control, I'll admit it.
Right. So, I mean, kids, of course, their brains are still developing.
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking
mine
about?
Mine is not developing. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Yes.
Just another quick bit of advice from another friend I got. Before you let your kids get a phone, make a deal with them that it will be only a part-time with them. You know what I mean? Like at night it will be, he was like,
course.
Make sure you do that. Don't, because you can't undo it once you give permission.
That's true.
So this is a struggle a lot of parents face, and this is a struggle Korea is facing, as well as other countries. And the headline is from the BBC.
Yes.
South Korea bans phones in school classrooms nationwide. But this story was reported everywhere. Like there's a New York Times article. There's a bunch of others as well.
Oh, so it's like law?
Well,
There's
apparently on Wednesday, that's what they said. According to this, South Korea has passed a bill banning the use of mobile phones and smart devices during class hours in schools, which technically, I guess, was already prohibited. But this law is actually giving some teeth to the idea, and I guess more permissions for teachers to do whatever's necessary to make sure that the phones are not used.
That's the rule now, so.
I guess. Yeah, it's a little unclear, and that's kind of what the article's about. But it's also about the fact that South Korea is not the only country doing this.
What other countries?
Well, they mentioned Italy, the Netherlands, and China. They've all restricted phone use in all schools. I know it's been a thing in Australia as well. They didn't mention it in the article, but they also mention Finland and France have banned schools only for younger children.
Yes.
So like elementary schools, I'm assuming. But they say in this article, South Korea is among the few to enshrine such a ban in law.
Yes, it's not just like a rule, it's law now.
Right. And interestingly, and especially in these times, it was a bipartisan effort. So,
because we don't hear the word bipartisan often.
Not much, unless somebody's talking about the past.
Everything's very political.
For sure. So that was like an interesting part of the article that they talk about. They say the bill passed this past Wednesday with 15 votes in favor of it out of 163 members present. That's clearly a majority.
Yes.
And they explain a little bit why it's become a thing. They say in the article that lawmakers, parents, and teachers all say that smartphone use is affecting students' academic performance.
Right.
And takes away time they could have spent studying.
I agree.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say, like, do you think that's the main issue? Is it that it affects their schoolwork, that it affects their grades, that it affects how much they study?
You know what it is, though? Because it's like the phone itself, okay, it's not like they're just talking on the phone.
No.
They're not just texting or DMing.
Right.
They're on social media, like, constantly.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
That is a distraction.
Yes.
And that for adults as well, though. It's not just for children.
Guilty.
No, everybody's guilty of it. So, any other issues that we should know about the phones?
Well, okay, so according to Cho Jung-hoon, who's the opposition People Power Party member who introduced the bill, he says there's significant scientific and medical proof that smartphone addiction has extremely harmful effects on students' brain development and emotional growth. So it's not just affecting how much they study. Other issues as well. And there are other studies to back this up that other countries have investigated. He says he was encouraged by that as well because other countries are starting to take action in similar ways. But they also mentioned some social issues as well. They mentioned one mother named Kim Sun who has 2 daughters in primary school.
Yes.
She's already worrying about bullying on social media in primary school, in elementary school. She says the kids throw around unthinkably harsh insults at each other in elementary school.
But that's the reality.
Is it like, have you heard about this kind of stuff?
Yeah. No. It's like, and sometimes it's not blatant. It's very kind of like subtle. And then like the ostracizing, like the 응다 왕다, like it happens.
Right.
And sometimes, and even like with the young children, I've noticed like some kids have phones and some don't when they're really, really young.
My kids don't.
Yeah. And then like my advice to all the parents, who are willing to listen, what I basically say, for as long as possible.
Yep.
Don't give them a phone because like once you give them that phone, there's no going back.
That's exactly what everybody has told me.
But it's so
Everybody's
true.
told me, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's
and then but there's this situation where, like you mentioned, Wangda, like there's a situation where the kids who don't have phones are like, why am I the only one who doesn't have one?
Exactly. So it's a fine line to walk. Because and then your kids will be like, how come we don't have a phone?
Already
Everybody
getting
else has
that.
a phone.
Yep. Already getting that.
I'm sure. So, anything else we should know about this article, this story?
You should know that it's not exactly agreed upon. There is some pushback mentioned in the article that not everybody agrees with it. So they mention a high school teacher named Cho Young-sun who believes the bill actually targets phones rather than the real challenge that students face. As they put in the article, South Korea's notoriously competitive college entrance exam. They give a short couple of paragraphs to explain the sunung, and they basically say it's an 8-hour marathon of back-to-back tests that many Koreans believe sealed their fate. And I think, when people see that in an article in an international publication, they're like, whoa, that sounds, people might be
really
unfamiliar.
Intense.
Right, it sounds intense. They say in the article that Korean children begin preparing for the exam from their first day of school. Does that sound accurate to you? In some ways, perhaps.
Well, for some parents, I don't know if it's the students per se, some parents, they start building their so-called portfolio for the private schools in kindergarten.
Wow.
I'm being totally like, that's reality.
So accurate. It sounds accurate then.
We have Tristmaster who says, my son in high school brings his phone to school, but they have to keep it in their lockers throughout the day.
Okay.
So they're not. Is
this in Korea?
Yes. So I'm assuming that, I don't know after the law, like what the rules are going to be, but it was different for every school.
Yeah, that's the other thing that's not quite clear. The bill has been passed, but there's like, according to this article and others as well, it's like not exactly clear what has changed and is there going to be certain procedures? Will phones be locked up in lockers? Will teachers have the authority to take them?
Right.
It's a little bit unclear still.
It's murky.
It's a murky issue, to be honest. And every country that's dealing with it is kind of dealing it with in their own way. And I think Korea will be just another example for the rest of the world. Like, okay, how do they do it? Is it working?
Well, I certainly hope that they, work on it together.
Yeah.
And I don't know if like one singular law is going to change like everything. But at least, to get the discussion going.
You got a good point, too. Actually, there was a high school student in the article named So Min-jun who said, like, rather than simply taking the phones away, he thinks the first step should be teaching students what they can do without them. So he's thinking, like, educate rather than punish.
That's a
which
great
is
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's from the student point of view, right? So yeah, there will be much more discussion about this, I'm sure.
Umerto also says, I gave my son his phone under a kid's account that I control. I control the apps, time, and sites that he can use and see. I had an app, I won't give the name, but I could write or type in words that I wanted blocked, like, you know.
Really?
Yeah, no, seriously. But that's how I was.
Like, for example, if they're searching on the internet, like
yeah,
you can
even on
block.
the internet, you can put keywords in so that they cannot access sites that have those words. For example, PORN. For example, because you don't want them to be exposed
No,
to.
look that word up.
You
What
know,
does that mean?
you don't want them to be exposed
Right,
to stuff
yeah.
like that too early. So.
Yeah. Question.
Yes.
Were your kids aware of that you were doing
Absolutely.
that? They knew.
No.
And
It
did
was
they ever
full
complain?
disclosure. Of course they did.
Did they?
Did I care? No. So,
And
you go.
this is why this is such a contentious issue, because
They live under my roof. I pay the phone bill. No.
but also you're trying to be protective,
Of
right?
course, of course. We it was an open discussion. They knew. They
Right.
fully knew. So, well, let's move on to our next story.
Yeah, I wish we'd talk about that for 3
I
hours.
know, we could.
Helping me prepare for the future.
Yes.
Next, we're going to talk about basically the complete opposite. So here the first story is like, technology is a danger. We got to protect ourselves from it, right? This story is from Rest of World, which is a U.S. publication, but focused more on non-Western narratives and non-Western stories.
Yes.
This article's headline is AI robots are helping South Korea's seniors feel less alone.
So this is completely on the other
Yeah, I was like,
spectrum.
okay.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what we're having to deal with in this day and age, right? Is technology is unavoidable.
Yes.
And it keeps developing. We have to think about how does it affect us or how can it help us, right? So, the question is technology harming us socially, mentally, physically? If you ask the 81-year-old Seoul resident featured in the article named Kim Jong-ran, she would say this technology is a good thing.
Oh.
She's featured in the article. There are pictures of her holding this AI doll.
AI doll.
Yeah, it goes by the name Haeundae, and she
Okay.
says, "You're my lovely granddaughter. I love you to the moon and back."
Aw.
And then the thing lights up. Its cheeks light up like it's blushing.
Oh, it's like blushing.
Yeah.
Aw.
And then it says, "Grandma, I miss you even when you're by my side."
Oh, that's kind of cute.
It is, but it's AI-esque, is it not? It's like, what does that even
I
mean?
miss you even when you're like right next to me, but I still miss you.
Yeah, like, okay. So it's basically, it uses a popular AI software
Yes.
as a chatbot, and it's a doll. It really doesn't do anything else but talk. But it's getting a lot of love from the senior community here in South Korea.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, why the name though?
So this the name comes from the Confucian value of caring for elders.
Hyo.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah. So they say in the article this is deeply embedded in Korean culture.
Oh, yeah.
However, at the same time, a lot of Korean seniors here are living alone and suffering from all kinds of things such as depression, dementia, chronic illness. Suicide rates for the group are among the highest in the OECD.
Yes.
So they do explain in the article that, a lot of this is due to the fertility rates declining, the need for multi-generational homes has kind of disappeared and just in general has disappeared. So according to the director of Gungdong Welfare Center in Guro, a part of Seoul, what older adults fear is not death. They say they've lived long enough. What they fear most is loneliness. And thus, the robot is there to help.
Right. Because, some people, like Leslie saying, oh, it sounds kind of creepy.
It could.
Because, we
sound,
have
yes.
this image of, dolls.
Right.
And,
And I think that's why they went with it's a very cloth-looking doll. It's very bland kind of design. I think that's one of the reasons. Because if it was too lifelike,
get away from the creepy.
Yeah, that uncanny valley stuff. But they've given out just in the Guro area since 2019. They've given out 412 of these robots already. Around South Korea, the company says they've gotten more than 12,000 of these robot dolls living with. Yeah, and some people in the article, they say some people want to be buried with them if they pass.
So that goes to show you that this is actually of significance to a population of people.
Yeah.
So on that note, we're going to have to call it a wrap.
Read more about this. Fascinating.
Yes, I am. I'm going to read this. This sounds really interesting. So thanks for piquing our interest. And of course, we'll check in with you next week.
Have a
Happy
good
fall
weekend.
semester.
You too.
All right. Thank you, Casey. This was Foreign Press Highlights. It's time to wrap up hour number 1 with this song. This is Bobby Caldwell's What You Won't Do for Love. And I'll be back at 8.
Guess you wonder where I've been. I searched to find the love within. I came back to let you know. Got a thing for you, and I can't let go. My friends wonder what is wrong with me. Well, I'm in a daze from your love, you see. I came back to let you know. Got a thing for you, and I can't let go. Some people go around the world for love, but they may never find what they dream of. What you won't do for love. You tried everything, but you don't give up. In my world, only you make me do for love what I would not do. My friends wonder what is wrong with me. Well, I'm in a daze from your love, you see. I came back to let you know. Got a thing for you, and I can't let go. Oh, I only want the best, it's true. I can't believe the things I do for you. What you won't do for love. You've tried everything, but you won't give up. In my world, only you made me do for love what I would not do. Made me do for love what I would not do. Make me do for love what I would not do. Make me do for love what I would not do.
부산 영어방송.
기업체 사장님들 아직도 직영으로 식당 운영하고 계십니까? 위탁급식과 도시락 전문 기업 더 좋은 푸드에 맡겨보십시오. 운영비 절감 효과 확실합니다. 식대는 협의 후 맞춰드립니다. 지역 부산 경남. 문의 전화 051-784-0877.
한국전쟁 당시 우리를 먼저 도운 에티오피아 6천여 명의 군인들은 자신들의 월급을 모아 부모 잃은 아이들을 위해 보화원이라는 고아원도 세워주었습니다. 그러나 지금 에티오피아는 위기에 처해 있습니다. 끊이지 않는 내정과 기후재난으로 대부분의 의료시설은 파괴되었고 의약품도 부족해 간단히 치료할 수 있는 질병으로 사망에 이르는 상황입니다. 바로 지금이 우리가 에티오피아에 진 빚을 갚을 때입니다. 지금 전화해주세요. 후원 문의 080-982-0119 국제구조위원회.
깨끗한 공기, 편리한 교통, AI로 연결된 세상까지 일상의 모든 순간 그 중심에 과학이 있습니다. 작은 호기심이 세상을 바꾸고 불가능을 가능으로 만드는 힘, 과학. 부산이 과학기술 혁신도시로 도약하고 있습니다. 과학기술, 산업, 고등교육이 파동치는 혁신도시 부산. 과학으로 한 걸음 앞서가는 부산이 대한민국의 미래를 이끕니다. 변화와 도약을 이끄는 중요한 한 걸음. 일상에 보이지 않는 곳까지
새로운 가능성을 찾아갑니다. 비스텝, 비더스텝. 이 캠페인은 부산의 과학기술, 산업, 고등교육 혁신을 선도하는 부산과학기술고등교육진흥원이 함께합니다.
혹시 지금 운전 중이신가요? 어린이 교통사고 피해자 수는 지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전 기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, B&K 부산은행과 함께합니다.
김밥가게 박 사장님도, 문구점 김 사장님도 우리 부산의 경제를 움직이는 사람들. 우리 동네 작은 가게로 향하는 발걸음이 우리 부산의 경제를 키워가는 한 걸음입니다. 부산 방송광고 발전 협의회.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Welcome back, everybody. This is hour number 2 of Morning Wave in Busan. We begin with Spotlight News. Special counsel to indict Kim Gun-hee under detention today. The Minjung-gi Special Counsel will indict Kim Gun-hee under detention later this morning, the first case for any former First Lady after it questioned her for a 5th time yesterday. The counsel filed for an arrest warrant against People Power Party or PPP lawmaker Kwon Sung-dong yesterday for alleged violation of the Political Funds Act. This is the first time in the special counsel system's history that an arrest warrant request has been filed against a sitting lawmaker. The National Assembly must pass the motion to arrest before a court can hear the case. Kim Jong-un to attend China's military parade with Xi and Putin. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un will visit China for a military parade in September alongside Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin, marking the first time the leaders of the three countries will attend the same event. The parade commemorates the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, with China celebrating its victory against Japan. Kim's attendance comes as Pyongyang and Beijing have been showing signs of restoring their relationship amid North Korea's growing ties with Russia. The South Korean presidential office said that it was aware of this visit and that the summit with the U.S. was affected by these events. SK Telecom receives a record fine for a data breach. SK Telecom was slapped with a record 134.8 billion won fine over a large-scale data breach earlier this year involving personal information of its 23 million users. The Personal Information Protection Commission, or PIPC, said that the amount was determined based on the telecom provider's sales, its multiple security violations, and a leak of key user authentication information, which it saw as a very grave act of violation. SK Telecom expressed a sense of deep responsibility over the PIPC's decision and pledged to strengthen its information security protection measures. National health insurance rate to rise next year. The country's national health insurance rate will rise to 7.19%, adding an extra 2,235 won per month to an average salaried worker's insurance premium. The Health Insurance Policy Deliberation Committee approved the hike yesterday, saying that the move was necessary as expenditures have been rising amid weak revenue growth. The government said it will pair the rate increase with cost-saving reforms to curb wasteful spending and safeguard the health insurance system's stability. Russian strikes on Kyiv killed 21 and damaged EU headquarters. Russia conducted a massive strike on Kyiv overnight, killing 21 and damaging the European Union mission and the British Council buildings, inciting outrage from EU leaders. Ukraine's Air Force said the nation had been targeted with 629 missiles and drones overnight, one of the biggest aerial attacks mounted by Russia since the war began. 4 children were among those killed. The UK and the European Union have summoned their respective Russian envoys, with their leaders blasting Russian President Vladimir Putin for sabotaging hopes of peace. And this was News Spotlight News. It's time for Waga. Haley's back.
Hello again.
That's right. So, yesterday we briefly covered this story, the school shooting in Minneapolis that killed 2 children. This is apparently being investigated as a hate crime?
Right. So this is according to FBI Director Kash Patel, who said that the FBI is investigating the shooting as an act of domestic terrorism and hate crime targeting Catholics. So going to the case itself, 23-year-old identified as Robin Westman opened fire a little after 8 a.m. local time at Annunciation Church in Minneapolis. This was one of the first days back from school. The children had been attending Mass back to school. Authorities say that they haven't been able to find a motive, and we're getting just tragic interviews of kids throwing themselves on top of other kids to protect them, which they should never have to deal with.
Right.
The police did find a manifesto, it says 선언문, that the suspect timed to publish on YouTube at the time of the shooting. FBI and the assisted officials took it down. However, according to U.S. officials, in one of the videos, you see words, and I won't repeat them, but they are very strong threats against the U.S. president and also Israel. They were written on the magazines, which are basically the bullet casings. Minneapolis acting attorney general said that the attackers seemed to idolize other school mass shooters and other mass murderers. And according to the writing on the magazine, it shows that the shooter was it seemed, obsessed with the idea of killing children.
Right. So what else do we know about the shooter?
Right. So this has become quite a hot issue in the U.S. media since the shooting. Court records show that the shooter's name was actually changed from Robert in 2020 to Robin, as Westman identified as female. Also, in terms of their connection to the church, the attacker's mother, Mary Grace Westman, previously worked at the school, and this is according to a school newsletter back in 2016. And some outlets are saying that the attacker may have even attended the school, but we haven't had official confirmation on that, at least yet.
Okay.
So, of course, condolences and statements have been pouring out, including from President Donald Trump. We covered that yesterday, who ordered flags to be flown at half-mast. Also, Pope Leo XIV, who is the first American pope, he was among those who paid tribute, who said that he was profoundly saddened by the attack. Also, at the same time, because it was a mass school shooting, yet another one, there have been protests at Minneapolis City Hall calling for bans on assault rifles. These basically what we would call machine guns, with one protester saying that sending kids to school should not mean sending kids into a war zone.
Right. And I saw an interview with one of the top officials, I believe it might be the mayor, if I'm not mistaken, him saying, people sending their thoughts and prayers, and he's saying literally the kids were praying, and that's when this happened. And so it's just devastating, and just don't understand sometimes these type of events. But we're going to move on. Seoul City has awarded a 용산구 district for a public safety award and then scrapped the plans after there was some controversy. So we need the story.
Right. So Seoul City on August 22nd, it had a kind of a public competition for excellent safety management for local festivals. And many cities and provinces do. So it awarded the Grand Prix, the first place prize, to Yongsan District under War Chief Park Ki-young for the district's safety plans around Itaewon during last year's Halloween. So these are some names that kind of ring a bell, because for the families of the victims of the Itaewon crowd crush, well, they opposed this, calling on Mayor Oh Se-eun to apologize and cancel the award. They issued a statement saying that it was War Chief Park Ki-young herself who, back in 2022, after the tragedy, said that Halloween, the holiday, and the quote-unquote festivals, or at least the festivities that ensued in Itaewon that led to the crowd crush, they were all a phenomenon rather than an organized festival. And this was the key point of argument in the court cases that ensued, because it wasn't hosted by the district or any one entity. So no one really bore at least legal responsibility to put up safety parameters and personnel. Therefore, her defense argument was that she bore no responsibility. So the statement further said that by rewarding the same office and the official for its safety management, is then the district now admitting that they do have responsibility for safety. Right. So this is not a sort of a pick and choose situation. It seems to be the argument. So upon the controversy, Seoul City canceled the award that was supposed to take place on Wednesday of this week, along with the ceremony planned for the future for the mayor to have handed out the awards and the plaques. Seoul City said that Mayor Oh Se-eun summoned the officials who were involved in planning the award and chastised them apparently for this kind of out of the realm of common sense incident that did not take into consideration the feeling of the families. The district, 용산구에 itself, also issued a statement apologizing because they had previously issued a press release basically congratulating themselves, or at least telling people that they have won this award, also saying it was inconsiderate.
I think that's like an understatement. Inconsiderate. Let's move on. The head of a private academies association is under fire for a divisive comment. So what was said?
I really tried to take some positive stories, but sometimes you just can't. So this is a chairperson of the Korea Association of Hagwon, Lee-won. She made a comment that school teachers are, in her words, less capable of teaching than private academy teachers. Basically, private academy teachers are better. Full disclosure, I am one. I don't think that's not. It's why? Why are we comparing?
It's apples and oranges.
Yeah, and honestly,
be comparing.
Public schools are the foundation of any country's education. That's my personal opinion, but let's move on. So this happened at an event at the parliament, actually, on the Dilbom after school care system. So she was at this discussion forum here where she argued, saying that from the perspective of consumers' choice, so basically we are now looking at education as a consumption, an act of consumption. She said, isn't it true that school teachers, public school teachers, lack an ability compared to private academy teachers? She said that in the past, elementary school teachers as an occupation was the top career choice for specifically women, but that these days competition for education universities, that's been plummeting. And she described the teaching position as what in South Korea we colloquially call 3D, and that's never really used to, it's often used in a condescending manner, let's just say. Because the 3 Ds mean they stand for difficult, dirty, and dangerous.
And naturally, teachers were upset.
Right. So the forum was on August 22nd, but the comment is making the rounds now. So major teachers unions, so we're looking at the Korean Federation of Teachers Associations and the Korean Teachers and Education Workers Union, they issued their respective statements of condemnation, saying that these comments, they stem from ignorance on the reason for the existence of public education and public school teachers being for consumption. And it demeans the teachers and the pride in their job that they have. They also said that E's comments show that she sees teachers or public education as a product that can be chosen, and that is based on what they say, quote, a vulgar educational philosophy, and called on the education authorities and the ministry to not stay silent about these comments.
I don't know. We shouldn't be dissing teachers of any kind.
Right, or
especially-
any occupation.
Yes,
but,
at all.
yeah.
All right. For our final story, we talked about how a new law is going to ban smartphones from Korean schools with Casey a little while ago. Well, one town in Japan is taking this one step further.
I want your thoughts on this.
Okay.
Basically, a town-wide detox.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Together? Together. So in Japan, the town of Toyoake is proposing that the residents limit smartphone usage to 2 hours per day. And at this point, I'm not going to disclose to you my screen time that I get every week, which is like, yeah, no.
우리 PD님도 하루에 몇 시간일까요?
알고 싶지 않아요.
She's going to let us know. Okay.
I don't even want to know.
So?
So this was submitted to the municipal government earlier this week, and it is under debate right now. It's, of course, not going to be strictly enforced. There isn't going to be phone police going around checking your screen time, but it's to encourage residents to manage and reduce their screen time. And by the way, this is, of course, not going to apply to work and study. So, you and I, we are both, our producer and I are looking at potentially 8, maybe mine might be 9 hours
Did
per
you
day.
mean 8 per day?
Yeah.
8 hours per day?
Yeah. But we work on our phones.
그쵸.
예. 예.
조금 많네요.
Yeah.
근데 주말에는요? How about the weekends?
So-
10시간요? 10 hours?
Oh my gosh. So this will, maybe you should.
Are you working during the
Maybe you
weekends?
should. But smartphone use during non-leisure activities, like watching videos while cooking or watching them for exercising, online learning, practicing for, esports tournament, all these said they will not count towards those 2 hours. So this is purely for entertainment, your social
scrolling.
media time, your
Yes.
doom scrolling. And then it has time suggestions. Primary school students should stop using devices after 2100 hours, so 9 p.m. Older students and adults should shut that down by 10 p.m. And there will, of course, be no penalties for violators.
I'm laughing because I'm like nervous about this whole idea. So in principle, I get it, right? But writing that into law, I mean, that's a different matter.
Personally, this is what we all should strive for because, at least 1 hour of no phone time before bed. That's what experts recommend anyways. And we all know the downsides of smartphone usage. However, again, writing that into law, that's a whole another legal issue. So more than 120 residents called and emailed the local city authorities during a consultation, a public input gathering period, saying that basically, no, writing this into law is excessive. And other people say that, there might be good reason. We all could use fewer screen time.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Again, I want your thoughts. That's what this segment's
Umberto
all
has
about.
some thoughts.
Yeah. What
He
do you say?
wrote 8 and then 4 exclamation points. PD님, that's just for you. Leslie's saying they're starting to do cell phone bans from bell to bell, meaning beginning of school until end of school. If the kids bring them to school, they have to put them in a tub by the teacher's desk, and then they can't have them until the end of the day. So, I mean, here in Korea, according to, which school you go to, they have those, those folders where you slip in the phones.
Yeah,
like
every kid.
Yes.
And that's the whole thing with the whole smartphone ban in schools too.
Yes.
That shouldn't this be handled on a school level rather than having to put this into law? Like, where's the social input gathering process on that? So it really all ties together when it comes to smartphones and banning them.
And self-control. All right. We're going to call it a wrap for all the Waggly news. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
I'm going to go be on my phone now. Bye.
Okay. Here's your traffic and weather. Here's your update on traffic right now. There's an accident on the Namha Expressway line or lane 2 going towards the Karak-daero. There's an accident right past the Karak toll gate. Also on Byeongno looking congested from Wondong to Suyong Tunnel. And there is backup on the Dongso overpass from Kamdong ramp to the old Kaegum toll gate. Looking slow on Mandakdero from Sukdung to Deokjeon intersection. It's already 28 degrees Celsius under sunny skies here in Busan. It's going to go up to 35 today. Busan City is under a special heat wave report. 폭염특보. Looking ahead to the weekend tomorrow, pretty similar. Highs going up to 35. And on Sunday, there's some rain in the forecast, but still hot at 33 as our high. This was your traffic and weather. And this is 숙녀에게 by 변지섭.
시간이 멈춘 듯이 미지의 나라 그곳에서 걸어온 것처럼 가을에 서둘러온 초겨울 새벽녘에 반가운 눈처럼 그대는 내게로 다가왔죠. 그대의 맑은 미소는 내 맘에 꼭 들지만 가끔씩 보이는 우울한 눈빛이 마음에 걸려요. 나 그대 아주 작은 일까지 알고 싶지만 어쩐지 그대 내게 말을 안 해요. 하면 그대 잠든 밤 꿈속으로 찾아가 살며시 얘기 듣고 올래요. 그대의 맑은 미소는 내 맘에 꼭 들지만 가끔씩 보이는 우울한 눈빛이 마음에 걸려요. 나 그대 아주 작은 일까지 알고 싶지만 어쩐지 그대 내게 말을 안 해요. 하면 그대 잠든 밤 꿈속으로 찾아가 살며시 얘기 듣고 올래요. 나 그대 아주 작은 일까지 알고 싶지만 어쩐지 그대 내게 말을 안 해요. 하면 그대 잠든 밤 꿈속으로 찾아가 살며시 얘기 듣고 올래요.
All right, Wavers, it's time for your special interview. So, President Lee Jae-myung is receiving praise for the outcomes of his first summit with President Donald Trump, at least overall. The meeting centered on reaffirming the South Korea-U.S. alliance with Japan as well. And it seems that this diplomacy, well, it started out a little tense, as we talked about, right? Right after the little, post on social media by U.S. President Donald Trump. But then it kind of got smoother as the meeting went throughout. And there are, of course, still agenda items that need further details to be worked out. So let's find out more about this. And as I said in hour number one, I'm so excited because usually we have this expert through Zoom. But today, Professor Kim Byung-ju, who's a former diplomat and affiliate professor at Hankuk University Studies of Foreign Studies, he's in the studio with me right now, so let's say hi first. Hi, welcome to the program.
Hello, I'm really excited. This is really a great delight, actually, to be in this the studio for the first time.
Yes, well, the pleasure is all ours. We've been looking forward to this for so long. So, Professor, I know we're going to talk about all the politics and all and the diplomacy and all that, but some people might be wondering, like, what brings you to Busan?
This is my hometown.
Yes.
I'm a Busan guy. I was born and raised here. I attended high school up to that point, and then I have my parents, so I visit here very often, like once every 2-3 weeks.
Yes.
And so this is a longer time stay than usual, and so that's why I could find the time to join you here.
Yay! Oh my. People are already chiming in saying, welcome, you're our favorite guest professor. So people are welcoming you already.
Thank you very much.
All right. So now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty details of some of the key outcomes of this Korea-U.S. summit. What would you say were some of the key points?
Well, first of all, more than anything, there have been talks about, in Korean, what we say, 춘중 반미 or 안미 경중. Two things, they refer to slightly different things, but 친중 반미 means, presently possibly pro-China and anti-America. That kind of perspective or view, perception in the United States was there. And then 안미 경중, for security, we're going to rely on the United States, but for economic business affairs, we are going to rely on China. There was such perception, and there was observation of that, what was going on for several decades.
Yes.
But now I think he has successfully addressed those concerns in the U.S. In actual practice, what we do and how we carry out our policy, it's our own. But when Americans are nervous and potentially unhappy about our policies, more than anything, we want to get along with the United States, and in particularly get along with Trump's America. And for that purpose, I think President Lee did a good job actually addressing those potential concerns and actually rectifying or correcting possible misperceptions and so on. So more than anything, like diplomacy is still an extension of politics, which means perceptions matter and beliefs matter and images matter. And in that sense, more than anything about specifying details about how much we're going to invest in the United States and how we are going to rearrange U.S. troops here, beyond all those details, this big picture thing about what Korea means to the United States and where Korea stands with regard to the United States. Sending them a clear message about those things, I think, is the most important thing. And in that sense, President Lee's visit this time made a big difference. I mean, we had our initial concerns, as you mentioned, social media posts. And when those things happened, I guess a lot of us were thinking, oh my God, the Zelensky moment.
Yes.
Or the South African president, the ordeal that he had to suffer through at the Oval Office. So all this trauma came back to our minds. But the thing is, over and beyond all those fears, I think President Lee really handled very well in terms of like working out this personal chemistry. I mean, for Trump, these numbers, details, actually, they don't matter for him. And for him, this feeling and personal chemistry, all those things make a huge difference. And focusing on those important factors for Trump and succeeding in managing those, that was the real accomplishment, if you will, for President's first meeting with Donald Trump.
Yes, I thoroughly agree with you. It could have been terribly wrong, but it went well. In terms of this summit with Trump, what does it tell us about, in your opinion, the capability of Korea's diplomacy, the diplomatic team. And, there was a lot of work, I'm sure, that was put in, a lot of research before the trip itself. So what do you make of it?
I mean, in making South Korea, clearly we are not like Ukraine or South Africa, India. And even perhaps a better position than Japan. Japan has been very nice towards Trump, but they have not been treated as well. But I think South Korea was treated pretty well this time at the Oval Office. So in making that possible, I think the overall diplomatic team here in this country, Foreign Minister Jo Hyun did a good job kind of preparing the groundwork before President Lee's arrival. Even himself skipped President's summit with the Japanese Prime Minister, he flew directly to Washington and did all the groundwork. And Ri Sung-nak, National Security Advisor, he's been involved from the very beginning and making sure all the details go right, and even dealing with the overall situation of the social media created 2 hours before the summit, connecting with the White House team and conveying clear message about what that incident means, and coming in, President Lee coming into Oval Office and Donald Trump immediately saying, well, it was a mistake, it was a misunderstanding, rumor, and blah, blah, blah. Trump himself was fixing the situation by himself. So preparing all those things, wonderful. And overall, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Korea, wonderful job all throughout the time. And even Ministry of Industry and Trade, their ministers there, they did a good job striking a deal with the United States back in July 31st. Before presidential summit. And so overall, Lee Jae-myung government is doing a very good job, and I've been around for decades. I've been doing this, watching this, working myself inside the government several decades ago. So I've been observing this, and this is probably one of the best teams that I've ever seen in the past history. Yeah, they're doing a really good job.
Well, thank you for expanding on this. However, I do want to address this. Some agenda items, things like we thought were going to be on the table, but defense spending, weapons purchases, things like that. I guess there are still details to be hammered out. So what do you think are the most urgent follow-up steps that need to be kind of carried out now?
The way I see it, I a little bit differ from most of the observers and commentators who usually say, list up all these things that needs to be worked out. I have a different stance. This is for Korea's position to give things to the United States. And the United States is the one that's in need for receiving things from South Korea. So the way I see it, being mindful of Trump's playbook, we're not in a hurry. I don't think we are in a hurry. And I think we should take time, slowly and cautiously, and specify details one after another, not in a hurried sense at all. And, Trump himself has been saying, well, we are going to make America great again. So you make your countries great again. Yes, we will. And we will be solidly focusing on our own national interest. And the way I see it, Korea's national interest lies in the principle that we do not want to specify all these details in a hurry. And we want to take time. And we want to have a careful and well-managed negotiation going forward with the United States. So defense spending, weapons purchase, and even that tricky issue of Donald Trump wanting the ownership of the land in Pyeongtaek military base. Interesting idea. I think there are pros and cons about that idea, but we have our laws and everything. So I think we should take time. And without actually making the United States offended, without making Trump offended, just being sincere and then cautious and careful about the details. I think that's the attitude that we need on our side.
Right. So basically not to rush things, right?
Exactly.
Got it. Well, surprisingly for many people, at least the lay people, for us, there was a lot of focus on North Korea during this summit with President Trump saying that, he's open to meeting North Korean leader Kim Jong-un again later this year. So do you think that South Korea, will be playing an important role at all in shaping those talks?
We'll have to wait and see on that. When we talk about that issue, the first thing that immediately comes to our mind is what President Moon Jae-in did, right? In terms of playing his role between Kim Jong-un and Trump during first administration of Donald Trump.
Yes.
And in Korea, the views are divided. Some people see that he did a wonderful job, good job, necessary things, but there are other Koreans who believe what he did was not very desirable.
I see.
And so I think we need to sort it out. And more than anything, I'm quite confident that President Lee Jae-myung is very much mindful of Moon Jae-in's legacy, both positive and negative as well. And I've seen, ever since President Lee Jae-myung entered his office, he's been very careful in terms of taking advantage of getting the best out of Moon Jae-in's playbook, the things that he did right and then that he did wrong. I think Lee Jae-myung has been very good in terms of not repeating Moon Jae-in's mistake. So in the same sense, I think he'll be careful, and again, I think he will take time to measure himself and then trying to be very careful to position South Korea in terms of our role between United States and North Korea going into the future.
Yes. And before we wrap up our discussion, I do want to touch upon the whole Korea-Japan summit, if we can. So in a broader context, what would you say? How would you kind of gauge what happened between the meetup between President Lee Jae-myung and the Japanese Prime Minister? What would you say?
Just exactly as President Lee Jae-myung did a good job in working with the potential concerns and worries in Washington, he did exactly the same kind of wonderful work in Tokyo. The way I see it. And, what happened was Japan definitely had a big concern about what's going to happen with in mind the Moon Jae-in legacy or Moon Jae-in case, where President Moon overturned everything that Park Geun-hye took such a pain for many years to accomplish with Japan. And so Japan was very fearful when President Lee Jae-myung was coming into office, but I think he successfully addressed that concern as well. So he kind of established a good base and foundation to work closely with Japan going forward. I mean, Japan is one of those countries where we really share our interests together. Unlike China, unlike the United States, unlike Russia, among the major powers that really matter to us, Japan is the one that stands closest in terms of having shared interest. So that's why this was very important. And once again, I think President Lee succeeded big time.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming in person today to meet all of our waivers, our listeners out there. And of course, if you can in the future, when you have time, we welcome you back. Thank you so much, Professor.
This is a wonderful studio, and I'd love to come back at any time when there's a next time chance. So thank you very much for having me this time.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Once again, everybody, this was your special interview with Professor Kim Byung-ju. We're going to take a short song break. This is I Do by ABBA.
I can't
It's time for Global Affairs, and that means Professor Andrew Millard. 안 교수님 is back with us on this. Can you believe it's the last Friday of August already?
I know.
It means it's back to school for us.
And it also means hopefully
Yes.
the weather's going to start cooling down
Yes,
soon.
that's what we're hoping for. Well, what are we going to dive into today?
Well, today, quite a serious topic. So we're going to talk about basically the recognizing of Gaza or Palestine as a state.
Okay.
This has been in the news for the past few
This is a hot topic right now.
It's a hot topic. It's been a hot topic for many, many, many years.
Yes, but even more so these days.
Even hotter.
Right.
Days. Yes.
So what are we going to begin with? Are we going to have an explanation, maybe a little bit of a history lesson?
Just a little bit of a background. So the Middle East, it's a incredibly complicated region.
Yes.
I'm not a Middle Eastern expert. I'm focused more on Europe.
Sure.
But basically, just a very quick introduction. So when we talk about Israel and Gaza, really this has been a situation that's been really in the making for over 100 years. So you have, going back to 1917, the very famous the Balfour Declaration.
Okay.
And basically, this was when Britain basically took control of what was Palestinian territory, this very big area.
Yes.
And with the Arabs. And the British controlled this area under a League of Nations. So League of Nations was the previous UN.
Yes, that's right.
Mandate, up until 1948. And now, during this time, basically the British, they were pushing for the creation of a Jewish state, an independent Jewish state.
Right.
But at the same time, they were also promising to, now, I have to say this quite carefully.
Yes.
To ensure the rights of non-Jewish citizens. So this is where there's a little bit of debate.
Yes.
This doesn't, a lot of people say that the British weren't saying, we have to give the Palestinians their own separate state.
Okay.
But it does say that at least they should ensure those rights of those non-Jewish people anyway.
Right, so there is a distinction.
This is where there's a bit of debate going on. So anyway, fast forward up to 1948 when the British mandate ended. Now, just before the mandate ended, in the UN, there was this big debate on basically, should we create a Jewish state?
Right.
And America and a lot of Western Europeans, a lot of other countries, they advocated for this. And so they created Israel. The Arab states, from the very start, rejected this idea, this proposal. However, in the United Nations, it was passed. And in May 1948, Israel was created and immediately was recognized by the US and these other states.
So when you think about it, 1948, it's a newer country when you compare it to the history of the creation of countries, right?
Right. So it's a new state,
yes,
we could argue. But again, this is where it's very complicated because if you go back in history, then
of course.
When you talk about the idea of nation versus state, then it's where it gets complicated.
Absolutely.
But in terms of state, it was created in 1948.
Okay.
So immediately the Arabs, especially including Egypt, they said, no, we do not accept this. And there was, from the immediate start, there was a war between Egypt and Israel, between the Arabs and Israel, basically.
Yes.
Now, this war, basically for about 9-10 months, there was conflict, then ceasefire, then conflict, ceasefire. It was very stop, start, until they came up with some sort of agreement in 1949. But ever since then, there's been sort of outbreaks of conflicts in the region.
Right.
So it's a very volatile, complicated.
I do have a question for you because I remember, when I was learning world history, there was always in the history books at least maybe 2-3 lines about a two-state solution.
Right.
In the U.S., obviously, we focus on American history the most, and then when we get to world history, not a lot. So what exactly, can you explain to our listeners, is this so-called two-state solution?
So the two-state solution, very simple.
Yes.
We have basically the whole territory and we divide it into two. Excuse me. One part of it becomes the Israeli state. The other part is the Palestinian state.
Right.
So we basically divide the territory into two. Nice and simple.
Right. Well, it sounds simple.
It sounds simple.
But it's not.
don't forget, we also have Jerusalem, in the middle, which is the holy center. And we have different religions
that want
to control.
Yes.
Jerusalem. So originally, when Israel was first created, Jerusalem was actually controlled by an international force. So not one individual country controlled it. Now, over time, that started to change.
Yes.
But basically, in terms of the two-state solution, it's now, especially in the West Bank, almost impossible. Because for the past, however long, for a long time now, the Israelis, they've been slowly creating settlements in the West Bank, which has been illegal under international law.
Right.
But basically, they've continued to do it. And so now, if you look at a map of the West Bank of where the Palestinians live and where the Israelis live, it's all mixed in together. It's impossible to create a divide and just separate them.
I mean, how would you? Like, you can't just, take a pen and...
Oh, you can't. It's impossible.
Right.
And there's really a lot of conflicts between the different groups in the West Bank. So, with Gaza, it may be more possible.
Okay.
Because Gaza has been basically cordoned off, and it is just the Palestinians who live in Gaza.
Right.
The trouble is the governing body in Gaza is Hamas.
Exactly.
And Hamas is labeled as a terrorist organization, so the West do not want to negotiate with this terrorist organization.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's basically been the story up to now.
Yes.
Over the past year or so, again, because of the start of the new conflict between Israel and Gaza, things are starting to change. And there's a lot of states now saying maybe it's time that Gaza and the Palestinians do have their own state.
For example, I've heard of a couple countries that have voiced support for a separate Palestinian state thus far.
So again, we're talking about this idea of recognition. So this is the key word.
Yes.
Which countries recognize Palestine as being an independent state? Now, so far, globally, about 130 states do recognize Palestine,
that's
which
quite
is
a bit.
quite a lot.
Yes.
However, in terms of the major states like the United States, the UK, France, the G7 countries, these countries so far have not recognized an independent Palestinian state. And so basically, when you go to the United Nations, for example, you need at least 2/3 of the countries to agree for it to join as a member. And they have to recognize it as a member state. So right now, basically, those powerful countries are just...
Is it more of a resistance, or are they actively choosing not to recognize Palestine as a state?
Oh, they've chosen not to recognize it so far.
Yes.
However, it's slowly starting to change now with what is happening between Israel and Gaza.
Yes.
There's certain countries that are saying, look, enough is enough. We need to end this now.
Right.
So in 2024, Spain, Norway, Ireland, and Slovenia recognized it. So this was quite significant because now we're seeing more Western countries, more Europeans moving in favor of this Palestinian state. And in the past couple of months, we've had the big states. So we've had the UK, France, Canada, and Australia. So again, those G7 countries, which are now saying probably in September, so very close when there's a UN General Assembly. At this meeting, they are more than likely going to recognize a Palestinian state.
Well,
so this is a huge shift in favor of creating this new state.
So we're going to find out maybe in several days' time that this recognition of Palestine as a state by more of the G7 nations, major players, might recognize it as a state.
So I think they probably will, but the key one really is the United States.
Yes.
And the United States, and this is not a partisan thing, is regardless of Democrat or Republican, the Americans very strongly favor Israel.
It's true.
And oppose the recognition of a Palestinian state. So that's really in my opinion, the last remaining obstacle.
All right.
But like I said, it's a big shift towards the creation of a Palestinian state.
Well, I am very interested to find out what is announced at the next meeting. And thank you for really explaining this in the simplest terms possible.
I tried to do it as simple as possible.
No, you did a great job because I fully understood, and I hope our listeners did as well. It's a very complex situation once again, and Professor Miller did a great job of trying to simplify it for us as much as possible. So we will actually see you in September, right?
You will, yes. So happy end of August.
I know. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Okay, see you next week.
Everybody, this was Global Affairs with Professor Millard. And it's now time to wrap things up for this Friday morning, for the entire week, actually. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And we're going to end it on this one. This is Boogie Wonderland by Earth, Wind, and Fire. Have a fantastic Friday. Bye, everybody.
Says